Thank you for joining us on Channel 24. Today's segment is a very special segment as we are here talking about the 2012 State of the City Address that was recently given by the mayor at the council meeting. And joining me today is Mayor Harold Parent. Mayor, how are you doing?
Doing great, Jack. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Well, you just recently gave your State of the City Address. It was well received at the council meeting. So let's talk about that. Kind of get into some of the detail that you mentioned in the speech itself.
Good. Okay.
So let's start off first. What is the state of the city?
Well, the State of the City is really an annual report to the citizens of Jonesboro, and it talks and tries to cover all the financial needs, all the projects that have gone on in every department within the city, and also kind of an economic trend as to where the city's headed, and take all that together is the annual report.
Right.
So we do that every year. It's required by law. It has to be done by the end of March of each year. And so we scheduled ours in March this year so we could have our financials.
Right.
And but we're delighted to do it every year.
Certainly. So what would you say the state of our city is?
The state of our city is very stable and very strong financially now, and not only the city's element but also the economy. The economy, as you know, has been growing about 2.5% per year,
Right.
Every year in the city.
Right.
And with the additions of the things that have happened in the last 12 to 18 months, I really believe that that's probably going to rise to probably about 3% per year, which
Right.
means we're going to be a 100,000 population before we know it.
Right. And we'll actually get to some of that growth here in just a second.
Okay.
So what would you attribute that success, our success over 2012 that you just mentioned, being the state of the city, right, union, or state of the union, so to speak? What is the attributes as to that success?
Well, I think we're now becoming a hub for Northeast Arkansas and even Southeast Missouri and several areas, trade, education, and employment. So I think with that, and particularly the medical community, as you know, the new hospital going out on 49 North has absolutely changed that entire environment on 49 North. So I think all that coupled together has boosted our growth substantially in this last 12 to 18 months.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the finances. Without getting into the actual nuts and bolts of the numbers, generally speaking, how are our financials for 2012?
Well, I'm pleased to tell you that we started and we ended with a balanced budget. And not only do we do it this year, but we've done it the year prior. And this is actually the third year that we've had a balanced budget for the city of Jonesboro. And that says a lot to our department heads and what they're doing with their funds. But again, we've ended with a balanced budget, and I'm very pleased with that.
Okay. So what would you say, how does the city retain such a tight grasp on our finances? Balanced budget for the third consecutive year, revenues exceeding expenses. What does it take to keep that tight grasp on our finances?
Well, it takes a lot. It really starts with doing projections, and that's what we start in August. And department heads get involved in September. We have a 3-year projection out. We don't just do 1 year; we do 3 years. Starts with the finance department, and then they get in with the department heads. And department heads really look at their what I call want and needs, and we've been buying needs. Rather than what some people may want.
Right.
And so we really have been very tight in that. And again, it goes back to the department heads being great about what they're budgeting for and what they're using. So once that is done, then we take that and then what we call budget revenue blind. We look at all the expenses, then we project what we think revenue is going to be. Now that's a big key element because then you've got to look at the economy on the national level, then you got to look at the state level,
right,
and then you look at what the gross national product's been, what Arkansas is doing as a whole, and then you take in Northeast Arkansas. So we've always budgeted what I call conservatively on the revenue side, and I think that's the way it should be because if you exceed that, that's great, but if you over budget your revenue and you don't match it, then you spent the money and it doesn't balance. So then you become a deficit. So,
right.
So again, that's kind of the way we approach it.
Okay. Now, in the speech, you talk about the audit and how we've come from a long way with our audit. Speak a little bit about what you inherited coming into your first term. This is your second term, and congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
But what you inherited coming into your first term, as it pertains to the audit, and
Right.
how you've cleaned that up to where it's flawless now. Speak
Okay.
on that.
Well, first of all, their audit this year from legislative audit was very clean, just like you said, in the fact that there were no deficiencies, major deficiencies whatsoever in the report. And I hold that back to hiring right folks and put them in the right slots.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is that our chief financial officer, Ben Borilski, Ben was with the legislative audit. He had audited these books for years. It was over this division.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also hired Mike, who was Ben's boss, to come
Right.
in on contract labor only when as needed. And so those two gentlemen and the finance department and along with administration worked very diligent to get that where it is today.
Right.
So it took a lot of time. A lot of the policy procedures possibly were not being followed to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put in some procedures that will tie back in the state statute.
Right.
And that's what you get today. You get a clean audit.
Yeah. Well, again, that's a great thing to have. So you just mentioned just a second ago about how the growth is apparent in the city of Jonesboro, and that's a great thing.
Right.
But let's talk specifically about that Highway 49 area, which you even alluded to. That's what most would say is probably the fastest part of our town that's growing,
Right.
because everything's moving that way. What's your thought on all the growth heading that way?
Okay. Well, I think first of all that with the placement of the medical center there, Northeast Arkansas Baptist, is that you're going to see the 49 on the frontage, all commercial,
Mm-hmm.
and we've already seen that now, and there's signs up almost on every lot that's out there, and it either says sold or pending or
Right.
give me a call. And so I think you're going to see that move. The next thing we got to look at is from there taking it out further. 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 or 15 blocks, then what do you see? Well, what you're going to see is residential and more of the family style behind that commercial.
Right.
And that's why we're addressing, trying to get our eastern bypass put into place to get that traffic off of what I call Stadium/49 North. And so that's what we're working on very diligently now with the Highway Department.
Okay. So where are we at on Vision 2030? You mentioned it in your speech, and how it's a citizen-driven vision, not
Right.
necessarily a plan, but a vision, citizen-driven. This has been a multi-year project,
Right.
but we're finally kind of starting to wrap this thing up. Tell us where we're at.
Okay. Well, where we're at is we just completed 3 public hearings, and that was after almost 2.5 years of people, 50-member commission, studying all aspects of the quality of life within our community. Everything from health care to economic development, infrastructure, and etc. And it took a long time to get that information together. And then we had our public hearing, which I think is probably one of the best parts of the entire process, and the fact that we got to sit there and listen to 3 public hearings about, well, what about this or what about that?
Right.
And we got a lot more input. Now, from that, what we'll do is the committee, the chairmen will sit down and bring that down to a very small, what I call readable document that we can look at and show the public. So we're going to come from 600 pages probably down to about anywhere to 100 or 85 pages, somewhere in there,
Right.
and get very specific then on what we say on walkability of sidewalks, etc., or whatever.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay. Now, we had some major advances in the area of public safety in 2012. Talk about some of the bigger items that were successful projects.
Okay. Well, in public safety, we did 2 or 3 things. One, we actually took the police department and started our quality of life program, and we put Lieutenant Todd Nelson over that. And from that, he now has code enforcement and animal control, all of those that coordinate through that division, that we can then give a report back to the people of Jonesboro. Then also in 2013, we added 3 new police officers on the force, and we also upgraded our equipment as well.
Right.
So in public safety, we've done a great deal. Also, again, if you're talking about the fire department, we also bought the land on, I believe it's Neely Road. And Neely Road, that will be the next fire station that we'll build.
Right.
We'll probably be drawing plans in 2013 and may go into construction, but it may be early 14 before we actually start construction on that facility.
Now, we actually wrapped up a new station in 2012.
Absolutely,
out
we
there
sure
on
did.
Harrisburg Road.
Yes, we did. It's right behind actually the curve on Central Baptist on Harrisburg Highway 1.
Right.
And that's a great station there. And so this will be our last one unless ISO comes back and tells us because of growth we're going to have to build another station.
Certainly. Now, and then one of the, I guess, the other more substantial ones, and this is kind of end of 2012 rolled over into this year, is the ASU Army Reserve Center.
Right.
That ASU turned over, and we're looking at taking over. What's the plans for that?
Well, the plans for that will be actually our new, I won't say central police station, but we'll be moving our patrol division to that area, as well as evidence storage. We'll have our motor pool there for all of our vehicles. We'll do a lot of our training there for our police officers. And so that was just a great building facility for that. And I certainly appreciate Arkansas State University working with us on this project. And so as soon as we get the word from the Department of Justice, then we will immediately send to the Department of Army. The Army actually holds title, and then it'll be turned over to us to be used only for a police precinct or police work.
Okay. Now let's talk about 911, E911 for a second. In 2012, they had a couple of very substantial projects, one of which being the first in the state of Arkansas to offer text 911 service.
That's right.
As the mayor of the city of Jonesboro and looking at public safety, how does that make you feel to know that we're offering something that is going to be replicable across the state of Arkansas, but was the first in the state to offer it?
Well, obviously, I'm excited about it. And in fact, Jeff Presley's done a great job as our director of 911. And when he came to me and talked to me about the text 911, it just amazed me of what you can do by calling through that way or actually texting. And you don't have to talk. So if someone's in a home and you think someone's breaking in, then a lady or someone can be texting and never have to talk. So that was great. Well, he then added on top of that another layer called 911 Smart. And Smart means that you can put personal data that's very confidential and secured in that, so that if we pull up to your house, then we know that, let's say, particularly you may be a diabetic.
Right.
So we know what we're going to on the call, and that really helps, particularly with the medical services when they get there,
Certainly.
as well as the police department.
Right.
So that's been a tremendous tool.
Right.
Now, I just got through looking at the report on the number of calls that goes into 911, and let me give an example. The percentage of landlines went down at the same percentage of cell phones going up.
Right.
And what that's telling me is that there are less people today on landlines, and they just simply have that is their home phone.
Right.
And so if we can do anything in technology to work through that cell phone, we're better off.
Right, absolutely. Now, another one of the, I guess, completed projects is the Public Works facility
Yes.
that's out off of Dan and Lacey Avenue. It's a very impressive facility, but how does this new facility make our operations, as the city, how does it make our operations more efficient?
Well, first of all, I think anytime that you can provide a facility for your employees that they enjoy coming to work, it increases morale. Therefore, I think production's better. It'll show you that in any company. But more importantly, this facility has within a complete fence, it has your maintenance program. It also has your warehouse, also has your administration. So everything that they do that flow through will go through those buildings. And so they don't have to go back and forth like they used to.
Right.
So everything's all into one area. So that saves on time. They're more efficient. And in fact, I was out there yesterday and looking at some of the things, and I was just totally amazed at the car wash, the fueling station that we have. You know, we're saving about 21 cents a gallon right now on diesel by buying it by bulk at our deal. So it doesn't take very long to pay for that entire fueling system.
Right.
At
Just
that kind
off
of
the
price.
savings.
Exactly. So I was real impressed.
Certainly. Well, and in general, the facility itself, they come from the landfill to this brand
That's right.
new, and they're taking care of it. They've invested, emotion into it, and you go out there and it's just as clean today as it was when we first opened it.
Exactly.
All right, let's kind of shift. We'll just keep jumping topics here. We're going
Okay.
off of your speech here. Parks and Recreation, you mentioned that in your State of the City address,
Right.
and the growth, the leaps and bounds growth that we're seeing in parks. Talk about that a little bit and what has, I guess, fueled that fire of growth.
Okay. Well, the first thing we done is that we started increasing and building on our facilities that we had, such as Joe Mack Campbell Park, and then also the South Side. Our first deal with South Side that we do need to have major improvements, and we've done that. We built a new $400,000 concession stand and a place for the umpires to stay and to get out of the weather and shower, whatever there in the facilities. This year we just got through sprinkling all the fields on water, which they didn't have.
Right.
We've also established the scoreboards and things like that at Southside. We re-asphalted all the parking area, things like that. And now we're in the process, and we'll talk about it in just a minute, but a $2.2 million Miracle League field that will be on that site. Joe Mack Campbell, we're going to have to build 2 fields this year for baseball, because in 2015, Jonesboro is going to host the National Cal Ripken World Series here in
Right.
Jonesboro
Right.
for the age 12-year-olds. So you can imagine, they're already telling us what they need, where to put it, and all of that, and this is just 2013.
Right.
So,
Right. So why do we invest so much into the facilities, the new concession stands, sprinkling the fields, build new baseball fields for this 2015 tournament that's coming to town? Why put so much emphasis and investment in that?
Well, twofold, I think. One, I think the citizens deserve it with the sales tax, and you try to put back with to the people. So the kids will enjoy a better feel, that's here. And also at the same time, it brings in more teams, particularly on tournaments, which increases the motel occupancy tax, which increases sales tax
Right.
When they're here. So it's kind of a complete circle in that. But primarily, it's to help the kids. And if you look at the number of kids today that's playing soccer,
Right.
compared to 4 or 5 years ago, we're up to almost 2,000 kids playing soccer
Yeah.
in Jonesboro. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And so,
In just a matter of a couple of years.
oh yeah, absolutely. And but again, I've always said, if you build it, they'll come. Well, we've increased our facilities, and they're coming.
All right. Now, I guess probably one of the biggest topics and biggest interest right now going on in the city is the new Municipal Center, or what we're going to call the new Municipal Center, or City Hall to some people. Where are we at on the project? And let's start with that. Where are we at on the project?
Well, we meet with the contractor and architects every Friday, and right now we're about 10 days ahead of schedule. Now, the first phase of that will be everybody in the City Hall now at 515 West Washington will move to 300 South Church by the end of May. The second phase of that will be everybody in the Huntington building, which is engineering. You've got your building and facilities area, and city planner. All those will move as soon as the third floor is unoccupied by the law firm.
Right.
We anticipate the maximum on that would be sometime in October. I would anticipate we'll be in sometime in September or latter part of August.
Right.
So by end of August, I would hope that all of us will be in one building, which does one big thing, and that is increase customer service.
Right.
You can do everything that you come to city for in one building.
Right. And that was going to be my next question, this idea of this one-stop shop.
Absolutely.
It's for the citizens, but it's also for city services.
That's right.
Efficiency, we're getting more done easier because everybody's in the same building. You're not driving across town.
That's right.
More centralized operation. So as in reference to that, better efficiency, better customer service, one-stop shopping, is that a good direction for the city to be going in?
Oh, absolutely. Again, when I came in 2009, I said we had an inverted service curve. And what I mean by that is that we have all of our police in one area. We have all of our administration scattered out.
Right.
And it should be the reverse. It should be all administration in one place and have precincts out.
Right.
And so we're working on that now. But absolutely, give an example. I just met with a national company today, less than an hour ago, and I had to call people to come and drive from the engineering department over here to meet on some plans on a major project that's coming to Jonesboro. Now, had we been in Mercantile, or what I call Municipal Center, all we'd have done is went down one elevator to one floor.
Right.
We was there.
Everybody there.
Everybody there.
Yep.
And so where we're setting that up on third floor is when you go in there, you got the planning, you got engineering, you got the MPO, and you got the all the things that's tied to building. So if that individual leaves, that company and or their architects or their developer, they're going to know everything they need to know. We'll have it even in booklet form, so they can sit there with the fire marshal and say, okay, what do we need here? What do we need there? And so when they leave, it'll all be done.
All right. Well, any final comments regarding 2013? We talked a lot about 2012 and
Right.
just kind of hinted on 2013, but any final comments you want to express about 2013?
Well, I think in 2013, what we'll concentrate on is looking at what we're doing to be more efficient. We'll also continue in all these areas. They've set priorities and goals, and so administration will be working with them along that line. Just like in parks, we'll continue improvements there. Police and public safety, no question, is at the very top of my list, and that is keeping this city very safe for its citizens. And also we'll continue our financial responsibility, fiscal responsibility on our funds of money. So we think 2013 is going to be a great year. There's no question there's going to be more building going on here in Jonesboro. And so I have to, again, as I said on the council floor, I really have to dedicate this report again this year to the department heads and to the citizens because of that complete seamless effort of everybody working together to make Jonesboro what it is today. And again, Jack, let me just say this too. The city of Jonesboro, we were very pleased to win 2 awards this year at state level, and it was just totally elated that we got the City of Distinction. For Downtown Improvement District and also the Volunteerism Award. Right. So it just speaks about what is Jonesboro. Right. It's a great place, small place to live.
Absolutely.
Raise a family and make a living.
All right. Well, Mayor, thank you so much for sitting in with us. I know you got a busy day, so we'll let you loose on this one.
Thank you.
Well, folks, there you have it, the 2012 State of the City Address. It'll be running on Channel 24 along with this interview, kind of recapping it. Again, Mayor, thank you so much.
Glad to be here.
And thank you guys for watching Channel 24.